Many millennials express a sense of frustration, feeling that they've inherited a society shaped by baby boomer era decisions that prioritize short-term gains over long-term stability, from rising housing costs and student debt to stagnant wages and environmental decline. They often perceive that boomers benefited from economic conditions and policies that no longer exist for younger generations. This has led to a belief that millennials are left to navigate the consequences of systems they didn't build, while those who did continue to enjoy the advantages. Well, despite which generation you're from or which tax bracket you find yourself falling into, if you have any of your own personal thoughts regarding anything discussed in this video, or you simply just want to share other different topics you want to hear me touch in the near future, feel free to leave those down below in the comments. I always love to read through those, sort through those, and respond to the ones I see fit, as well as a huge shout out to him for you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. I've currently been experiencing a rough season, so I'm more than appreciate the handful of you guys who have been doing so. Now, let's begin this shit show.
Boomers have just absolutely fucked these couple of generations. If you look at the cost of homes, the cost of education, the big problem in the United States is wages have not grown, except for people who have a lot of money already. If you wanted to start a family and you're in $100,000 in debt for your student loans, and homes have doubled, tripled, quadrupled in price when compared to your income, and we don't have real wage growth, that's an issue. And I think this will become the issue of the next election. We see Mondami and the socialist movement. If you really want to make a compelling argument for the next election cycle, I think it's real wage growth. And if you look at minimum wage and this disparity between what top earners make and where minimum wage is in the United States versus other developed countries, there's a real argument here, even though we might all be free market individuals. This came out of New York this week. Slow gains in jobs in New York City for the first half of 2025. This is New York City. We clearly have some issues with jobs here, and young people are clearly having a problem. We're talking here just about the American dream. Is it broken for these next generations? Low wages, high debt, no ability to buy a home.
Millennials and other younger modern generations are starting to feel a large amount of resentment towards older generations, such as the boomers, for being able to experience a vastly different financial reality than we get to in modern day. With many of us seeing our parents being able to purchase homes at younger ages, being able to find more stable jobs, and even be able to possibly build up a savings account that compound interest will actually not eat all up. Or inflation, that is. Well, it seems as if nowadays Gen Z and most certainly millennials are starting to see the troubling financial future and not really have much hope for their path at all. Well, today, the troubling cost of living is rising far faster in the majority of areas than most people's wage increases are. With a large amount of the millennials, specifically, facing high rent and mortgage payments, an expensive amount of healthcare, and an ever so increasing amount of student loan debt. Well, these challenges make it more than difficult to try to even think about saving for the future, and the complete idea of financial security being tossed out the window far long ago. This creates this growing sense of unfairness that they're starting to feel this resentment towards their parents or older past generations.
What's a scam that's so normalized that we don't even realize it's a scam anymore? In Social Security. The United States government takes 7.65% out of every single one of your paychecks for Social Security and Medicare. In fact, if you make $60,000 as the average married person, you are giving more of your money to Social Security and Medicare than you are your effective federal tax rate. The average person ends up contributing around $360,000 into Social Security in their lifetime, but if they die at 68 years old, they can't give this to their children. And if they're lucky enough to live a really healthy retirement, they're only getting about $22,000 a year in Social Security. But if we got rid of Social Security and we're taught in high school the importance of investing in an IRA, the same amount of money, we would have $4.5 million. And if we passed away, we could give this to our children. And if we didn't pass away and implemented the 4% rule, 4.5 million times 4% gives us $180,000 a year for retirement instead of $22,000. And the biggest part of this scam is the government spent all the boomers' money that they contributed their entire lives, and the funds are going to run out in under 10 years. The only reason the boomers are getting Social Security and Medicare is from the current workers. And if you and I want Social Security and Medicare in our future, we need our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to continue to work. That is the definition of a pyramid scheme that's just waiting to collapse.
Many boomers are starting to find it pretty hard to retire, being that Social Security is not really stretching as far as it used to, with the cost of housing, food, and overall medical care rising oh so greatly, while alongside their monthly benefits have not really kept up. This makes it pretty difficult for some of our older people and our elderly people within our community to worry about their expenses without little worry. There's a lot of worry there involved. And so, in spite of this, kind of cost of living crisis and them not having money to go around, they're continuing to work, and they're overcrowding the workforce, which is making younger generations upset with them. Boo-hoo. Well, many of these older folks kind of thought that their Social Securities and possibly the pensions they were able to get into were going to be able to keep them afloat in their later years, which a lot of them is not really seem to be the case. As a result, many of our boomers are frustrated and overall disappointed within their life.
I'm finally an adult! The housing and job market have never been this bad. It sucks to be an adult right now.
We're going to pay off student loans, increase minimum wage, and fix this economy. Just kidding, you idiots.
I have to stay distracted at all times so I don't experience existential dread.
You know, I look just like you when I started working here.
We just bought a house and have another kiddo on the way.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm single and pay for my groceries with Klarna.
Good night, Mom and Dad. Maybe one day I'll be able to afford my own place.
I was finally able to save a couple $100s this month.
So when am I getting grandkids?
Mom, I can't even afford gas.
Well, I finally got my own place. Only thing in my budget.
Now, the millennials in modern day are starting to face their midlife crisis much differently and almost sooner than past generations such as the boomers. Instead of questioning their identities after reaching stable careers and family homes, many millennials reach their middle years without ever feeling like they'll ever be able to attain many of these family milestones or milestones at all throughout life, which creates this large sense of confusion throughout your adulthood. And without these quote-unquote traditional markers, it's kind of leaving them lost and confused. While many millennials, and now creeping on upon the Gen Z generation, are still dealing with large amount of student debt loans, unstable housing, and careers that don't really offer much long-term stability at all, which is causing this large amount of burnout and exhaustion and straight up boredom within life and reality. That's going to wrap up another video discussing how Gen Z millennials are crybaby sissies who hate their parents who ruin society, and how boomers just don't care to listen while they ride off into the sunset with their millions of dollars and their 10,000 vacation homes, and well, we just kind of let their kids rot out here in the streets, homeless, renting out boxes. Despite which generation you're from or which tax bracket you find yourself falling into, if you personally can relate to anything discussed in today's video, or if you personally have any other thoughts, opinions regarding anything discussed in today's video, feel free to leave those down below in the comments. I always love to read those, sort through those, and respond to them as I see fit. As well as a huge shout out to half of you guys checking out those links down below in the description. Those are always some of the best ways to support me and the content around here. I genuinely do appreciate the handful of you guys who have been doing that lately, because I've been recently experiencing quite a rough season in my life, so genuinely everything helps. I was raised never to ask for help, but nothing's expected, everything's appreciated, so God bless to all of you. Now, kind of like I got for this one, so I hope to see you next one. Bye.